So my main fueling was Hammer Nutrition Perpetuum, and did 180, 160 calories an hour with that. And then supplemented with some gas station treats, some gummy bears, had some pickles covered in cream cheese,
I can't
wrapped in ham, covered with Shiraka spice. Oh, it was delicious, and I tasted it for the next 2 hours. But it was amazing.
We experienced it for the next 2 hours too. As you were burping it up. From KOM Cycling and Michigan Midpack Media, welcome to the Dirty Chain Podcast, the podcast that covers the cycling scene from the viewpoint of the Michigan Midpack. I'm your host, Trevor, and on this episode, the Cowpie EX, 236 miles out of Ionia, Michigan. If you are like me, your daily, weekly riding tends to serve very specific purposes. You're either training hard throughout the week, or you're competing, racing, attending specific events. But every once in a while, I think it's important to step back and do something different, something fun, something borderline dumb. And that's exactly what myself, Mitch DeYoung, and Dustin Derrick, a couple voices you have heard before on the podcast, did a couple weeks ago. We took on the Cowpie EX, one of those choose-your-own-date, self-supported adventure rides. The Cowpie EX route, which was created by Mitch DeYoung, starts in Ionia and hits some pretty spectacular sections of western Michigan, including single track, miles of gravel roads, and some fun seasonal roads. Mitch and I and Dustin sit down and reflect on our long adventure, and hopefully it'll give you a taste of not only what this ride, the Cowpie, has to offer, but what you yourself can experience in any big fun ride. Hopefully, after you listen to this, you will want to grab some friends and take on your own big dumb ride, whether that be the Cowpie EX or a route you create that is right out your front door. Because sometimes a big dumb ride is exactly what you need.
So what is not available for public consumption?
In terms of our story? That's up to you guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't care one way or the other.
I feel like certain things have to remain inside jokes.
I don't know. Just use discretion. You know, we can allude there was a Pringles can. Maybe we don't have to go into the details.
I will start giggling still. The next day, I was taking a shower, and all of a sudden, I just somehow thought about it. I just started giggling in the shower. Just
Man,
staying. It was hilarious.
Well, I know we've been messaging back and forth, and Dustin, we were talking earlier, but how's everyone holding up? It's Thursday after. Have we been on a bike yet?
Yes.
yes.
How's that been? How's that feeling? Is your bike functional?
My bike does not have a rear wheel on it at the moment. It's at the shop.
That's right, because you broke a spoke.
I broke a spoke.
More on that later.
New brake pads are sitting on the kitchen counter.
You haven't.
And it's been sprayed.
Oh yeah, but you've ridden your road bike?
Yeah, I got on the trainer.
Yeah,
I got on the trainer on Sunday.
What?
Oh wow, I didn't see that.
Did I? Yeah, I got home from putting in docks and got on the trainer for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying to Dustin, I think that it is important to move a little bit, move those legs. I've ridden a little more than I probably should have.
My brain was not functional, and I didn't feel like a normal human being until Wednesday.
I am still having, I don't know, just like some
fog, like
some fog. Yeah, I can't even talk right now.
And 45 minutes later, I
fell asleep.
Yeah.
Got super tired,
Yeah.
and we'll get more into this, but like I've been so hungry.
Oh, man.
I mean, and I thought I was over that, but then today I was starving. So that hasn't gone away. But yeah, that's I guess that's what happens.
I don't know how you could be hungry after everything you
so
ate.
true. That's so true.
Dustin, is your bike's
good.
Bike's good?
Bike's
You didn't
good.
have to change brake pads?
Nope. They're pretty much brand new, but they look pretty good. I mean, they're about half gone,
I don't last for the rest of the season.
ish. But no, bike's good. Been riding the road bike. I started riding on Monday, and I felt normal for the first time on the bike yesterday, like more normal.
Sure.
Like a little zippier,
Yeah. I replaced all my brake pads. I don't know if I needed to replace my rear, but I just did anyways. But my front, I think I had some weird like piston thing going on because one, like my left front was completely to the metal and my right and the right was okay, or the other way around or something. But other than that, I think my bike, I mean, we only, but it seemed like an eternity. We're only really in wet weather for 2 or 3 hours, right?
It was 2 hours of rain, and in the middle 1 hour that was pretty pouring.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this a lot because there's been several different times when I've done an event or talked to people about different rides, and a lot of times it gets into like the specifics of that route or the specifics of that event. And I certainly want to talk about like the route and what it was comprised of. But the more I was thinking about what we went through last week, 236 miles of gravel, sand, single track, forest roads. I was just like really into the fact that we did a big dumb ride, and even after the fact. So what I kind of want this to be is a little more general, especially for people that maybe don't live in Michigan or aren't going to do the Cowpie EX. Like, I kind of want this to be a celebration of the big dumb ride, and why this is something that, even though it's dumb, maybe you should give it a shot. Maybe you should get a couple friends and just do a big dumb ride, and it could be out your back door and just figure out a route and do it. So with that, can we agree that this was a big dumb ride?
This
Yes.
was definitely a big dumb ride.
100%. Yes.
A great big
It
dumb
was
ride.
so fun.
It was fun. I will agree. Mitch, tell us about the course then, where we started. Give us like a quick, because you created the course.
Yep.
So before you do that, so Cowpie is out of Ionia, Michigan, and it's in June.
June. I think
June?
it's early June.
Okay.
I think.
And it's been around for a few years.
Yeah,
Comprises
Cowpie's going
of-
on its like 7th or 8th year. It's up to about 1,000 people.
Yep.
A year and a half ago, Joe and I were out riding. He said, "Hey, I want to put together a big ride. Something I want to do like 365K." This is what he like, okay, why 365K? Like 1K per day a year. Okay. And the first thought was, can we string together a bunch of single track in kind of southwest Michigan and make a route out of it? So that's how we started out. And then from there, it was kind of like, well, what if we made this into more of an adventure than trying to string together single track, because then you're just forcing roads that really nobody wants to ride on. There's a bunch of pavement connectors. So got out a map, started trying to find places that nobody would ever go, because who's going through a sandy 2-track in the middle of the woods up by White Cloud? And the answer is nobody. But I did want to keep some single track in there, because there's some really good fun single track that just doesn't get ridden all that much. So we started in Ionia, the same exact place that the Cow Pie gravel race starts. Headed out to the Ionia single track. I think it has a name.
State
Rec. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Did some just nice, calm gravel roads over to Cannonsburg State Game Area. Did most of the state game area. Then had some fun rides, or some nice gravel up to the Hardy Dam area, over to the Dragon. Rode about 10 miles of the Dragon up to White Cloud and found some really good seasonal 2-track out there. Back over to the Dragon again for another 10 miles or so. Down to the Langston State Game Area, where there's supposed to be a trail, but it's sort of not a trail.
That was like Blair Witch Project. That's what at the time of night that we went through it. There was no trail.
During the day, there's one, and when the trees came down, it kind of blocked it. Then from there over to the Flat River State Game Area for some more 2-track, and back into Ionia. So we ended up just a little over 365K, because I like to say I'm an overachiever.
Yeah, and I mean, for us, I think it was like, I thought in a way, it was one of the most easiest, like, it's an hour away, less than an hour to the start from where we live. So that's how I kind of feel like it was like right in our backyard. Just went there, started at 6 a.m. and ended way too late. But yeah. That hour drive home felt like a lot. But yeah, it was really easy to get to. And then in that 236 miles, we saw a ton of Michigan. And you said kind of like Southwest Michigan, but no, we were like the Dragon's not Southwest Michigan. I mean,
that was the original idea, and it didn't turn into that, because we went straight like the Central West area, not quite up to the Manistee, but
it was close. It was pretty close to Manistee, and just like what we were able to, the amount of distance we were able to cover in a day, it was pretty impressive. And then the different terrain, I thought was great. Not a ton of pavement. When we hit pavement, it was amazing. Like it was needed. Yeah. But some good gravel and really great seasonal roads that you found up there in the White Cloud area. And then the single track on our drop bars. I mean, that was a highlight for sure.
Yeah, and then it was designed also that you can do it without having to have any support crew. So it hits gas stations probably for the most part, every 25 to 30 miles there's a gas station. There's one spot where it's a little longer, but you can stop at a state park and fill with water. So it's really designed for anyone to just, go out on their own, do it. You're never that far from civilization, although you feel like it. Yeah. But you can just go out there and do it.
Yeah, I think that is kind of the brilliance of the course, is that you really don't need to carry a lot or be concerned about, I don't know, like running out of water or food because of all the gas stations that you will cross.
Unless you want to bring enough clothes for 3 days.
Unless that. But yeah, so Mitch, you created a course last year. This one was a little different, but last year you did it on your own, right?
Yes, I did it on my own. I left Friday at like 4 or 4:30 in the evening after being sick all week. It was a pretty miserable experience, but at the same time, I had a good time. I'm glad I did it. When I got done, I said, I don't ever need to do this all through the night again, especially while sick. And it sure would be a lot more fun if people joined me.
So fast forward to this year, you put out a message to a few of us and were like, hey, does anyone want to join me on the Cowpie EX this year. I think I was not 100% committed. I was a little weary of weather and watching weather, but I was interested in doing it, and I'm glad I did. But Dustin, you jumped in and I believe, I mean, you just made it work, right? Or
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of looking for a fight. I was looking for something to do, and it's tough. As you know, I'm busy with the kids, and they got sports every weekend and things like that. And I'm talked to my middle son, and I'm like, hey man, you got a soccer game Friday and Saturday. What do you think about if I went and did this with Mitch and maybe Trevor and some other guys and whoever could show up? And he's like, oh Dad, please just go get him, man, go do it. He was awesome. So I'm like, all right. And as soon as I got that green light, I messaged. I'm like, okay, I'm in. And so I was stoked.
Yeah, because we've been talking about trying to get to do like Crusher for 2 or 3 years now, and it's just
it's hard.
it's hard to make everything work.
Yeah.
And I think scheduling is so tough. And I think that's kind of why I was bringing up that it was close.
It was
I mean,
huge.
there are other opportunities to do big dumb rides. There are other opportunities to get like huge distant events in, but you really have to travel. You have to, not only is your ride time, like we rode for nearly 20 hours.
Our ride time was like 16, but we were out there for 20 hours.
We were out there for 20 hours. Yeah. Like, so that's 20 hours, but then to have to drive, like if say you're going to Marquette, I mean, 12 hours, between going up there and coming back, like that, it gets even more difficult.
Yes.
But so the fact that we could just go and do it, and I mean, it still was hard, but not as hard as it could have been.
Yeah, and that was a big draw. I was like, shoot, I can just zip over there. It's less than an hour away. I'm like, yeah, not many excuses not to do this one.
Right.
So I was excited.
So I have done long rides. I haven't done one of these since probably Crusher. I mean, this long of one, but I've done a lot of long rides. Mitch, obviously you have done several of these really lengthy. Dustin, how many before this weekend? How many? I guess like. Let me ask you it a different way.
Okay.
Before this weekend, what was your longest distance of a ride?
So before this weekend, it was a road ride, the 1-day ride across Michigan. So I think it's like 146 miles or something like that, on a road bike, on roads.
Yep.
And and that was many years ago.
Yeah.
So I haven't done. I mean, I haven't done a century in a couple years. Really. So yeah.
And then time-wise, probably pretty similar to...
time-wise, it was Margie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Margie was the longest I've ever been out on.
Yeah, I mean, so Margie, I mean, you're not unfamiliar with a long ride.
No, but it's, I haven't done... I was checking some boxes as we were pedaling, Let's put it that way. I was like, all right, I knew this was going to be some uncharted territory because it's the longest, most time spent on a drop bar bike, and I haven't done any super long stuff on gravel bikes, maybe 50, 60 miles, here and there, just, or a race here and there, but nothing super far. So I had all these little milestones in my head as we were, riding, and so it was cool.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like, I don't know if nervous is the right word.
I was nervous. I was definitely nervous. Yeah.
But that's what I was getting early on.
Yeah.
A little, maybe some nerves, maybe like you said, like uncharted territory or checking some boxes. What were some of the specific things that really made you nervous leading into the day?
Well, I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, like, doing this type of event is its own thing. Well, fueling, gear, what to bring. Would you have everything dialed in? Is your bike dialed in? Is your GPS going to die? Do you have enough blank? And let alone that I'm riding with you two guys, and you guys are super, strong, and I just always wanted to contribute. I've ridden with you guys for years, but not on a 236 mile adventure. So I was like, whew, this might be a tall order, for a lot of reasons. So I had all those things kind of stacked up, and it's been a while since I've done a really long ride of any kind.
And I think I remember talking about this as we were riding, but that feeling was exactly when I did Crusher. I was going to say the first time, but the only time, in 2020 with Mitch and Sebastian and Brett and Joe started with us. That's exactly how I felt, because I felt like I was this is the first time I had ever attempted anything to that distance. I mean, just will my GPS, do I have enough lights? Do I have enough food? But will my body survive? And then starting it with people that I knew have gone through these long distance rides before, and I felt like such a newbie doing it, and kind of a I don't know, like I shouldn't be there, or something like that. But so I know how that feels.
Yeah.
But you killed it, man. I mean, I know that there's some times towards the end that you started to communicate that you weren't feeling the best, but everything from my perspective, you were riding strong the whole time.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's funny because I felt okay unless I had to put down some good power if I wanted to pull, or there was a climb, and I'm just like, if I dig to go up this climb, I feel like I'm going to pay dearly. So I tried to be smart. So I tried to let that competitive side of me kind of just chill out, and you just gotta just keep on pedaling and just enjoy it. And I did. I really, it's funny. I didn't really feel bad, but I also was not as, I don't know what the word is. I didn't feel as peppy as I wanted to, but I mean, but it's okay.
It's not like any of us bonked or
no.
I don't think any of us really hit the wall or had any super dark moments.
No,
except for the rain at the end. I feel like that was a pretty dark moment for me.
It's been a long time since I've shivered that hard.
Yeah, if we stopped to
so
change a light or something, you're
gosh.
just jackhammering.
Yeah,
I was very cold. I was like, let's. I was probably the one that I remember I had to stop and swap my battery packs out of my light, and I'm just jackhammering. I just want to get riding as fast as possible.
That was pretty miserable being so close to the finish and not seeing any rain in the forecast all week, even leading right up to it, no rain. I mean, I brought nothing with me. I brought nothing. I had not even a base layer, just summer kit. That's it. And it was okay. I probably could have worn more clothes at the beginning, but it was okay until that finish. And then, geez, oh Pete, was it cold. We all did well with fueling. We all did well with pacing. You mentioned not wanting to be overly competitive, but at a certain point, I mean, the only thing that we're trying to accomplish is to finish,
Right. And I guess I should clarify, competitive against myself. I have standards, I wanted to contribute and pull as much as you guys, and which, the first 100 felt great, and then it just was kind of I still felt good, but I wasn't contributing as much as I wanted to. But that's okay. I mean, I'm definitely not down on it. I definitely don't feel bad about it. I feel great. I feel great about the whole experience.
Well, I mean, and
it was awesome.
But that's kind of what I mean is, even if you're just competing with yourself and wanting to get more out of yourself, at a certain point, you could have done that, and then you wouldn't have finished, and then you'd be sitting here being pretty upset about not finishing what you set out for.
Agreed.
So riding smart is and man, I don't feel like we really rode. I don't know. I mean, I mean, I think there were a couple times where we were like, oh, let's back down the pace a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think we rode slow by any means. I thought our pace was pretty good the whole time.
Yeah, I think
me
we did
too.
a really good job of pacing it. There were a few spots early in the day when we had a nice tailwind and things got a little hot. But
Guilty.
it's just one of those things where we're all just flowing. No one was putting out huge power. It was pretty flat. Just it
was fun.
sitting there cruising along at 21, 22 miles an hour when we maybe should have been doing 19. But, end of the day, I don't think it makes a difference. And we had a good time anyway.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk about fueling a little bit because that was one of the main things that, I mean, you brought up fueling, and in a long day, that's all pretty much the thing you have to think about constantly is staying on top of your fueling. What did you guys do for your main fueling source?
So my main fueling was Hammer Nutrition Perpetuum, and did 180, 160 calories an hour with that, and then supplemented with some gas station treats, some gummy bears, had some pickles covered in cream cheese,
I can't
wrapped
believe
in ham, covered with shiraka spice. Oh, it was delicious, and I tasted it for the next 2 hours. But it was amazing.
We experienced it for the next 2 hours too. As you were burping it up.
What else did we? What else did I think I had a Snickers? That was my. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I did the Perpetuum too because Mitch brainwashes me, and but I've used it in the past with like Lumberjack and stuff and Margie and everything, and it's awesome. I love it, and then man, Gummy Smurfs. What's up? Gummy Smurfs from gas station and some cookies, and it was that was kind of my main jam.
So what did you have while you were out there?
Well, I did start with the Scratch Endurance. Man, I forget what it's called, Endurance Fuel or something, but it's the high carb mix. That in my bottle, and I brought enough for like maybe 2 more bottles on the road, which I did use. But I didn't really carry much of anything because I knew we were hitting gas stations, and I wanted to use this as kind of an opportunity or a test to see how much junk food I could actually eat.
Well, you succeeded.
And if it would fuel me the whole way. And it was kind of a test to see like how I would feel with like eating as much. I did think through it, and I wrote down.
Oh, I can't wait.
Let's hear this.
It does. I don't know if it's that as impressive. Like when I read it,
seemed impressive when you brought out your handfuls of food.
So we stopped we stopped in Cannonsburg.
Mm-hmm.
Then not too long after that for the wheel swap, which we can get to. And then it was White Cloud. Yeah. And then
Howard City,
and then home, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So that's okay. Here was my day. I started with 2 glazed donuts. I don't think we talked about that.
No, I didn't know that.
I stopped at QD.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
2 glazed donuts. That was good. And then Cannonsburg, I got a pack of Haribo Bears. Got a Coke and a Star Crunch. Man,
what did you do with that Coke, by the way? Where did that Coke end up?
Well, I put it in my bottle, and that's stupid because the carbonation
was hitting Dustin. A lot. I'm like, I just got wet. I'm like, why am I getting wet? And he goes, I just got wet. So, well, I'm looking around up in the air trying to figure it out.
I kept thinking it was sealant.
Yeah. Good
like,
call.
that's what I was worried about. Like, you feel something on your leg, and I'm like, oh, shit, I just got a flat. But, no, I put the Coke in my bottle. It was delicious. I loved it, but it kept like exploding. Okay, so that was the first stop. Man, those Star Crunches, I forgot all about how good those things are. Holy cow.
Yeah.
The next stop, mind you, this was only like half an hour later or something.
No, it was like 2 hours. It was an hour and a half.
Was it another hour and a half? Okay.
Yeah, it was
I got a pack of Oreos. Another Coke. I got a turkey bacon wrap and a Gatorade. Then it was several hours for the next
good
one,
3
right?
hours.
Yeah. Then I got a 6-inch sub, potato chips, another pack of Haribo gummy bears, Twix ice cream bar. Holy cow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And that espresso drink.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also filled up. So this is where I filled up my other bottles with Scratch. So that was another like, I want to say that's 800 calories, 400 calories per bottle. It's pretty thick. Then our last stop, Pringles. We shared those Pringles though.
Most of them.
Most of them. Some of them went in the trash for undisclosed reasons. We will not.
Another
disclose.
Coke, Gatorade, a pack of Nutter Butters. And,
I think I missed that part.
and no, I just ate I ate those Nutter Butters and everything. Most of everything I ate at the gas station. Some of it I took with me and ate on the ride, but most of it
I was gonna say, I think that was the impressive part. It's not that he bought it and like, oh, I'm gonna strategically pack this, and he has an arm load, he has 10 grocery
have a whole
bags.
meal
Right
here,
and he's
eat
just
it all.
bang,
I
bang,
think
bang.
my intention was like, I'm gonna buy all this and I'm gonna like put it in my pocket and eat it on the way, and then I just would start eating at the gas station and eat it all.
Yeah.
The thing was, going home, all I wanted was some food or like a piece of pizza or something, and it was 4 a.m. Nothing was there. 3:30, 4 a.m. And I stop at a Speedway. I'm like, certainly, maybe there's like day old pizza or something. There's nothing there. So, and I don't think we had anything at the house to eat once I got home, nor did I want to like make any food. And so after all of that, I go to Speedway, and the only thing to get is like combos and more salt,
gas
more
station
junk. Yeah, but I don't know, like the Sunday, this is good. Sunday I woke up and my wife had a doctor appointment. She couldn't eat in the morning. And I'm like, I really wanted to go to breakfast or something. And I was like, are you okay if I order Panera and just eat in front of you? And she's like, fine. And so I ordered like a breakfast sandwich, a bagel, and a cinnamon roll. I just ate the whole thing.
In front of her. That's funny. Yeah, I didn't have any like really awesome gas station moves other than I did have a cup of coffee while we were waiting for the wheel swap. I think
It was cold.
What? Yeah, it was cold standing there.
Not
I thought
the
you meant
coffee, not the coffee,
Yeah, I'm like, no, it was cold standing there, and that was a good
call.
move. That felt really great.
So what was the wheel swap issue?
So going through Canonsburg State Game Area, I might have been being a little careless.
You're doing like tail whips and stuff.
He was.
Yeah.
I might have been. And I heard a ping. And I was like, what was that? But of course, everything was still riding fine, so I didn't think anything of it. We got out of the single track and onto a paved road. And Trevor's riding behind me. He's like, hey, Mitch, your wheel's wobbling an awful lot. I looked down, and sure enough, it's just side to side. Like, oh, no. Luckily, our gas station stop at Canonsburg was only a quarter mile away at that point. Yeah. So we pulled in. Sure enough, I'd broken a nipple. It's okay, I have an extra one. I didn't have an extra one. And we're like, all right, what are we going to do? I can either try to ride with this and just take it easy and hope for the best, but with my luck, I'd get as far out as possible and everything else would break.
You'd be in White Cloud and you need to get picked up.
Yep, and then Dustin kindly volunteered his wife to bring us one of his spare wheels. Convinced us that she wouldn't be mad and the boys would be happy to get to SAG.
I thought for sure that you were not right about that.
Oh, no.
I did too. I was like, oh, Lori would not be too
Yeah,
happy.
yeah.
I mean, she would do it, but she wouldn't be too happy about it. But so we found a spot about an hour and a half up for us because it was about an hour and a half drive for them. And they met us at the next gas station. Wheel swapped right in, everything lined up. I had to do one small barrel adjustment on my derailleur probably an hour later. But other than that, it just went in, worked perfectly all day, except for it was a 38 riding through sand. But I'm not going to complain because I got to ride through sand instead of going home.
Yeah.
And what, I mean, you were previously riding a 45
Yeah.
millimeter tire, which like that, the sand calls for something wide like that. But no, the fact that the wheel was not your wheel. It was Dustin's wheel, extra wheel. And like you both were riding 11 speed. You both were riding 1 so like the gearing was similar. And I don't know what else. The rotor size was the same, and the axle, like you just like it was like plug and play.
And he's running Shimano, and I have SRAM on mine, so the fact that they just lined up perfectly.
Yeah.
Is,
I mean, if I would have broken my wheel, that wheel would not have worked for me. I don't think, because I have 11 speed, but I have a 2x. So I don't know if that gearing would have.
Your cassette wouldn't, or your derailleur.
My
wouldn't fit
derailleur,
that cassette.
yeah, it would have been kind of funky, but it worked. I can't believe it worked, but man, it was way too early to have that issue. And I mean, we went through some rough stuff. So if your wheel, I mean, if you broke another spoke, it would have been game over.
Taco time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have folded. They were, so my boys love to sag. So some of the stuff I've done, they take it as a sport. Like they just think it's incredible. And Mary likes to do it too. And so she told me after the fact, when, after we called her, I called her, that they, like, my boys just scrambled and just went to work. They're the ones who packed the snack bag with the gels and all the snacks.
Yeah, you forgot the Uncrustables.
Oh, yeah. Well, it wasn't an Uncrustable. What was it? The Bobo or the...
I had an Uncrustable.
Peanut butter and jelly. And I forgot about that. You an Uncrustable. So they went into action and packed it all. Like a SWAT team, ready to go. They loved it. They thought it was really cool.
So happy when they pulled up from the gas station.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was cool for me.
They were all like super happy to come help out, to see you. They knew how it was obvious that they knew how important this was to you, and so it was important to them.
Yeah.
And so like from Mary and also your kids, they were all like very excited to cheer you on through it. And I thought that was a really cool thing.
It was, when they found out it was self-supported, they were all kind of like, oh, okay. They were like, really? Are you sure you don't need us? I'm like, if you guys want to show up somewhere, feel free. But I think it's kind of the idea is to be self-supported. And so when they found out they got a chance to, break into action and support, they were just stoked to come do it. So it was special.
The spare wheel did handle tail whips just fine, just in case you want to know.
Yeah, I did know. I saw you do it. I'm like, what are you doing, Mitch, man?
Why?
One, it's the only wheel you got now. Two, it's not even your wheel.
I was more gentle with it, a little bit.
Yeah, it's in great shape. It's good.
I can't believe that worked, and it really didn't set us back that long.
Maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, like it could have been hours. We could have had to ride. Off course for a bit just to go to a bike shop to see if we could get it, but that didn't need to happen. We had we had taken care of. I do have a question, Mitch. Like, there is a finisher and what this is supposed to be self-supported, and does the wheel swap negate the self-supported vibe of the ride?
I don't think a wheel swap does. I think maybe a bike swap might, but there's nothing in the rules that says you can't get outside support. We're gonna let it slide this time.
I mean, my thing, like, I didn't even think about it as we're riding, but I think at that point it's like you would rather just finish it and then like be like, okay, maybe it doesn't count or something. Like the point of the ride wasn't so it counts towards something. At least for me, it was like the point of the ride was to go out and do it, and
just do it.
The thing that counted was the fact that we did it together and we accomplished it. And I don't really need my name on something or a finisher award or something. Like it just happened to be around a somewhat organized event, I guess.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Is I if I didn't technically get a finisher thing, I wouldn't care because I still went out and had a great day.
Right. And yeah, it's funny. I just wasn't even thinking that at all when we were riding, and then afterwards I was like, well, I guess technically this was supposed to be a self-supported thing. And
It doesn't have to be. You can have a SAG team if you want.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing that says you can't.
Gotcha.
It's just designed so you can do it self-supported.
Gotcha. And I guess like, I mean, any big dumb ride can be either self-supported or not. I mean, it doesn't really matter one way or the other. What were some of the? So, I guess I wouldn't even say that was a low light, because we got to see your family and they were so excited, and I think that it was kind of cool to see that, and wheel swap was pretty seamless, but so that wasn't really a low point, but what were some of the highlights for you, Dustin, besides the family thing?
Well, I mean, really, the entire thing was a highlight. I know that sounds corny, but I absolutely had just a riot. I really did. I mean, even in the rain when it was bad, it's still, you're out riding your bike, challenging yourself. You're out in the elements with a couple friends, and it was just really cool. But if I have to pick like an actual highlight, the Dragon was absolutely wonderful. I never ridden that before, and even on a drop bar bike, it was a blast. It was beautiful. I mean, the water was great, and the trail was a roller coaster. It was just fun, flowy. I could just go ride that all day, and I definitely want to go back with my mountain bike and ride that.
When we hit the Dragon the second time, we're how many miles in? 150? I mean,
140.
Yeah,
because we came out at like 152, I think.
Okay,
we had about 12 miles on it.
Yeah, so I mean, we are well into the day,
and we just gotten through arguably the toughest part of the day because there's a ton of sand.
All these like sandy seasonal roads up by White Cloud. And I think I even said to you, Mitch, I was like, man, that Dragon is gonna be it's gonna be a drag, like more single track this far into the ride. So we hit, it's the for those familiar with it, it's the furthest north east section heading south. So you start off the...
There's a parking there for, words are hard again. There is a bridge right there, and there's a parking lot trailhead to go in, and I can't remember the name of it.
And what did we stop for?
Chain lube.
Oh, that's right. We
were all getting very squeaky.
Yeah.
And gummy bears.
Yeah, so we did a quick stop. It wasn't very long, but then we start riding it, and it's like that time of night. It's not night, evening.
Yeah,
it's like
it was
golden
7
hour.
o'clock, 7:30.
Yeah.
Just beautiful.
And then we start riding, and it gave me so much more. Like it like filled me up.
Yep.
It was so much fun.
100%.
And I've done that whole section before on a mountain bike, but on drop bars it was like a whole other trail. And it was great. Man, I loved it.
It was so much fun.
And then you would like pop out a little bit from the woods and just see the reservoir and the sun. And I mean, it was a gorgeous part of the evening. And man, that had to be a highlight for me for sure. And that was a good 10 miles too, right? Like
I think that part was about 12 miles.
12 miles,
yeah. It was a little longer than I thought it was going to be because Trevor and I kept asking Mitch, about how much, does this section have? And, you would kind of throw out a number, and I thought, I think this was a short section, but it kind of kept going, but I didn't mind. I mean, it was just awesome. The height of the banks, some of the banks on that trail is just awesome. It does remind me of the UP just a touch, just up being on those high banks, looking down. And it's great. Man.
Yeah, it's a super safe and not technical and pretty simple trail, but it kind of can fool you that there's like a bunch of exposure or something at some of the parts. You're kind of on like riding on the side of a bank, but yeah, that was That was a lot of fun. And then it was coming out of that. Then we hit Howard City. About 180,
I think it was
170.
10 miles after that.
Okay.
So, yeah, 107. We'll call it 170.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly.
And then it was like time for us to put our lights on.
Mm-hmm.
And
get a little goofy for a bit. We all a little sleep deprived and oxygen deprived.
And then we had one big push to finish it up. And that's when we thought rain was coming.
Yeah, we got into Greenville and it started sprinkling.
Yeah.
So we checked the weather. Like, oh no.
And it was just sprinkling. I mean, it was like, it wasn't bad. And I kind of thought that it might just pass us real quick or we ride through it. But that was not the case. It dumped on us. And this was like midnight and it just dumped. And we're on gravel roads and all our brakes are the loudest.
Well, it sounded so horrible.
It sounded like a train accident, like just
I mean,
happening
I
nonstop.
kept thinking about houses that we went by. Yeah. Like people are trying to sleep and they hear like these three bikes. And I thought for sure it'd sound like that the whole way back. But I mean, it probably rained hard for an hour. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was a long hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it rained for a half an hour, just kind of on, and then poured for an hour. Then
Yeah.
it kind of rained a little bit for another half an hour.
I mean, it was almost to the point where we were super close to the finish. And I'm like, where the heck are we going to change? Like, I don't want to change. I had dry clothes. I didn't want to get my dry clothes all soaked. But, like, right before we got back into Ionia, it stopped raining.
Yeah.
But that, I don't know. I was thinking about that and how it would have been nice not to have to deal with that. But it seemed pretty, typical is not the right word, but like everything else went so well that it just seemed like we had to have something that really brought us to that point of you really had to get through that mental block of getting through. Like that took more mental energy than physical energy.
Yeah.
And that's what like taking on these big challenges. You talk about checking boxes. Like you check a physical box, you definitely get to the point where you have to check this mental box as well. And at that point, I think for all of us, it was like the mental box.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I went and looked back at some of our kind of stats from the day. I'm like, we could have made it in before the rain, but it really would have changed the feel of the ride because we'd get to a gas station, we'd take our time, we'd get what we want, get all situated, and have to do one more thing, always at least one more thing, and just had a good time with it. There was no stress, no rush.
I thought I thought the exact same thing. I mean, I thought our riding time, we weren't slow, we were riding steady. It was definitely the stops that probably just added up. But I mean, those were my favorite parts. Like just stopping. I mean, obviously because I'm getting like ice cream sandwiches and combos. But those are my. I mean, I think we needed that. And it's always the more people you add to the mix, the longer it takes for those stops. There's only 3 of us, so it didn't take too terribly long. If there were 6 of us, it would have taken double that probably. But 3 of us, it does take a little bit of time. And I don't know. I don't regret any of that time that we spent doing that because then if you start hurrying through those situations, well, then it's like the same thing, Dustin, you were talking about, like, I wish I could pull harder, but then you wouldn't be able to finish because you use up all your energy. I mean, if you don't take the time and eat the food and get off the bike, then you're going to put yourself in trouble later, or possibly.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many rides I've gone on in beautiful places, and I can't tell you anything off the side of the trail. Like, if it's on the trail, I can tell you every inch of it. Anything to the sides, nothing. And this one, there were a couple times on the drag, and we stopped and we took pictures.
Yeah.
I would never do that during a race, but this just, it fit the vibe of the ride, which is great.
Yeah, and that is, I don't do enough of that. And and I realized that like that most of my riding serves a very specific purpose. And whether it's a race or trying to ride a certain trail or just here's my workout or I'm on a Zwift race or, you know, like everything like serves these purposes. The purpose of that ride was to finish and to have fun and whatever else.
And to do the big dumb thing.
And to do the big dumb thing. And I think that was what makes those kind of things so enjoyable. Is that the point is the point, honestly, for me, the point was to see how much I could eat at gas stations and still feel okay to ride, you know, like the point was to do this with the two of you, you know, that, it wasn't let's bury each other and try to, break any records. That's, and it wouldn't have been the same experience for sure.
Yeah, this is definitely the kind of ride that at the end of the year I'll look back and be like, well, I did this race and this race and this race and those were fun, but are a good time. I enjoyed them, but I had the most fun when we stopped at a gas station on this big long ride and someone was playing the Pringles can and I just couldn't stop giggling about it.
Yeah, so there was an incident with a Pringles can, but and I thought I
nothing bad.
Nothing bad, but I thought I killed Mitch. He was laughing, and then I went over to the garbage, and I came back, and his hands are still on his knees, and he's shaking. And I walk over, and there's no sound coming out of his mouth, and he's laughing the hardest I honestly think I've ever seen a human laugh in my entire life. I mean, he right now, whoever's listening to this, he's on the couch, his face is beet red, he's like doubled over, laughing so hard, dude.
You can only get to those moments though,
yeah.
when you're like, I don't know. You're definitely slap happy at that point.
It was amazing, and I recommend everyone get to that point at some point in their life. It was great.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Those moments right there it's worth the price of admission to put yourself out there and risk it and go beyond and try and push and experience, and it was incredible.
Yeah. So, I mean, we live in a state where there are so many great events and races. I mean, and I think of like specifically, we have the 906 races like Crusher, like Margie Gessick, and the whole thing is like find your limits, you know, and like push yourself as hard as you possibly can. This I feel like is the total opposite of, or at least how we approach this. Right. I mean, yeah, it was a big goal. It was a big thing to take on, and we had to work hard to accomplish it. I don't mean to take that away from us, but it wasn't, the point of it wasn't to see how
fast we could do it.
Well, or like the point of it wasn't to find our limits,
right?
You know, true. The point of it was to finish together and have a good time.
Yes,
and I think that's the difference between like a big dumb ride and, I don't know, finding your limits on the Crusher. I mean, the Crusher, I guess, could be considered a big dumb ride, but I think it's a little different in my mind. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you can go at the Crusher with the same type of mentality we did today, but I don't think that any of us here are likely to do that. Might just be the hype around it, because it's hyped up as this big thing, and you're going to work as hard as you can to do the best you can, and this is not that. This is a go out and just spend a day on your bike and have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I think going back like to how I started this and thinking about how I wanted to really celebrate big dumb rides. Lately, and I've talked about this before, but lately I get pretty frustrated with how races just constantly get longer and longer and longer. And it's like the next big thing is they just add in more miles, and that's supposed to be what's the difficulty of the thing. And it's like, instead of having a super difficult course or whatever, it's like, how long can people just handle themselves out there, or like how long can they go for? Anyways, so not that I'm like against ultra stuff, because I do a lot of longer rides, but it just, sometimes I go against like just seeing longer distance. That being said, my experience this last weekend was like, oh yeah, but longer distances can be like this. They don't have to be just kill yourself for as many hours as possible. It can just be a fun, dumb, big ride. And something I think that if you ride bikes, if you like to challenge yourself, if you, I don't know, like, I think anyone can do this. That's my point, is like, it's not, Mitch, you created the route. Like, you were able to find that and do that like an hour from our house, and an incredible route. You can do that probably in any state. I don't know. I think it's find some friends, make some routes, and take a Saturday and just do a big dumb ride. I mean, that's kind of what I took from it. It's been a while since I've done something like this. And I don't know if I've ever really, I mean, I would say like the Big Bear butt cruise that we do is it's not as difficult and it's not as long, but it's definitely like
it's a similar atmosphere. It's like go out and have fun and stop at the aid stations and stop at the overlooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this was that plus a lot more, and super enjoyable, and I'm glad we did it together. So yeah, that's kind of what that's what I took from it.
It was way more fun riding with people than on my own last year.
Well, I still can't believe you did that.
Yeah. You know, to speak to your point, Trevor, you know, about, you know, go on a big dumb ride with friends. And if you're listening to this and you're a person who's like, I've never even ridden 40 miles. I've never ridden 50 miles. Well, then there's your big dumb ride. Get together some people. Yeah. If the furthest you've ever, you know, rode your bike was 20 miles, which, you know, is great. Well, then, you know, 40 miles or whatever, pick a number, pick some people, and go get your own, you know, big dumb ride. Then after you do 50, then you can do 100 or you can do whatever, and just keep on doing that. And it's
that's
awesome.
That's a great point. I do not recommend people going out and trying 240 miles without doing a century or something.
Because we all ride a lot. Yeah. You know, the three of us ride a lot. But so the other thing I was thinking about, and I don't know how this really ties in, but it does a little bit. Like, I think years ago, Mitch, you did Crusher, and this was like right at the beginning of when Sheldon and I started the podcast.
Oh yeah,
and like
the first Crusher EX.
And I remember following your dot, because I think you had like a tracker on it.
Beacons.
And I could not wrap my head around that kind of distance. Like physically, like I could just not know like how in the world does someone do something like that? And then, I mean, you came on the podcast, talked about it, like, it's probably one of our first ones, maybe the second or third.
I think it was episode number 2.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it was like a conversation like that. Like, how does someone do that? And then that like plants a seed where you're like, maybe I should try that someday. And then you work up, and now Mitch, like, we've done a bunch of big things together, and we just did this thing on the weekend. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, Dustin, but like, I wonder, I mean, was that kind of you see what some of your friends or some of the people that you ride with, what they accomplish, and you're like, you know what? Someday I want to do something like that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, always. I mean, that's been kind of my story, and I think most people's story who want to progress in cycling. And you start from, oh, I did an 8-mile ride, it was so far, to all the progression all the way up through. And I think that's probably what happened here. I mean, I've had my sights on doing some longer things, and then here comes this opportunity, and that seed has already been there growing for a while, and then the opportunity came along, and all I had to do was say yes and make it happen. And yeah, absolutely. And so this one, and I'm looking at maybe what's next, and I'm not, maybe it will be the Big Crusher. I did the Crusher 100, and I think the Big Crusher's kind of next on the docket,
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
Very cool.
We'll see if we can make it work this year.
What, if anything, would you have done different?
I know. If I could
Really?
go, I would have eaten breakfast. For starters.
I cannot believe you did not eat breakfast.
Yep.
I could have gave you one of my donuts.
But I honestly, I would have gotten ahead of my fueling. I think I got a little behind on my fueling. Not that I felt that bad or anything. I think I could have fueled a little better and stayed on top of my hydration a little bit better. That's something I would have done.
And that's something that's learned too.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to like get your body used to that. It's not just like learned, like I got to remember to do it, which that's one part, but also sometimes if you're not used to that distance or riding for that length of time, you just don't feel like constantly drinking or eating, and then you get behind.
Yes.
I used to set a timer.
That's smart.
Well, I mean, you can do that on your
Garmin.
on your Garmin, yeah.
Yep. I put on I had an old Edge 500 that didn't do that, and I had the Timex watch. Sorry, a cheap Timex watch that had you can do a countdown repeat timer. So I set it for 20 minutes, and it would beep every 20 minutes. Take a big old drink, whatever it is, because you don't want to eat after a while. You're like, no, I'm sick of everything.
Yep.
Nothing is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the first time I've done like multi-hour bottles with a hydration pack of water. Like for Margie, I did Perpetuum right in the pack. I liked it. I like doing it this way because it's easier to keep track of what you were doing. But even doing that, I still got a little behind. And then probably, a little after mid-ride, I started eating more at the gas stations, and I'm like, oh, I feel...
It was the Smurfs.
I feel a little bit better, yeah. And I'm like, well, go
Haribo
figure,
Smurfs,
you're only burning 10,000 calories on this ride. You probably might want to eat a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My change, I brought, no joke, I had a gallon Ziploc bag with clothes in it, and it was almost full. I had arm warmers, leg warmers, a vest,
Was that your
a
joke
wind
about
jacket.
bringing enough for 3 days?
Yeah, it was my joke about bringing enough for that. And I got home, and I had not opened that Ziploc bag. Oh, it also had socks and gloves in it. So I carted around like 3/4 of a gallon of clothes.
Mitch, you carried so much stuff. It looked like your backpack looked huge.
And then I brought enough Perpetuum for 24 hours, plus some gel, plus some fizz.
Yeah.
So I probably could have survived in the woods for a week with what I had on my back.
And Trevor could have survived in the woods for a week on what he ate. Yeah.
Yeah, my pack was huge, and it was full, and it was very heavy, and it never seemed to get that much lighter. I still have, I think, 3 bags of Perpetuum sitting on my counter that I didn't use.
Yeah.
So that's 9 hours worth of fuel.
Yeah.
It's just sitting there that I carted around all day.
I think the only thing I probably would have brought arm warmers and maybe a vest.
We wouldn't have stopped to put them on anyway, because we both had them and didn't
We
put
had
them
them.
on.
We didn't wear them. I wore them in the beginning and then took them off and never put them on
Maybe
again.
I would have used them in the beginning.
Yeah.
But like when it started raining, we didn't want to stop and deal with that.
I didn't want to get my
because-
bag out.
Yeah, exactly.
But I got warm after, 30, 40 minutes of riding. I was ready to take my vest and arm warmers off, so it was kind of pointless.
The only thing I would have done differently is 2 ice cream bars instead of 1.
I might have put bug spray on too, because I got home and had a tick.
Oh, I pulled that tick off early, but I didn't find any more. And I was all concerned about sunscreen, and then like it was only sunny for like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
No, it was
when
sunny
we were
for-
in the woods,
It was sunny for a few hours, but no, I mean, I think all in all, we did a pretty good job of planning and getting through it. And
If there's anything on the course you could change, would you change anything? We joke about Langston not being able to find the course.
oh yeah,
So it's an
Blair
overgrown
Witch.
2-track that used to be an actual 2-track, but nobody uses it anymore. People do a fair bit of turkey hunting in there, and that really seems to be all it gets used for.
it's not. It's calling it a 2-track, Mitch.
It's
is
turned
like,
into a deer trail.
There was no
calling it
trail.
calling it a deer trail is
Well, I think
generous.
so.
everybody
I think
take
some
note.
trees fell down between last year when I had gone through there and now, and we may have gotten off course by a few yards.
Okay, I need to talk about this because we're in the woods. Okay, let me start over. I have zero sense of direction. I rely heavily on my Garmin, and so we're in the woods. It's pitch black. There's no trail. There's down trees everywhere, and there's like 3 of us going kind of 3 different directions. Kind of like, well, I think it's over here. I think it's over here. And I'm looking at my Garmin, and it's pointing, forward, for lack of a better term. And Trevor's like, no, it's got to be over here. I'm like, okay. So we start walking, and he's like, wait a minute. Now I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. And I'm like, it's got to be down here, guys. I'm just going for it. And Mitch is like, go for it. So I grab my bike and I start literally bushwhacking like through the woods. Find the trail. I mean, yay for me, right? The hero. And Mitch is like, way to go. He's like, you get to lead now. And I'm like, awesome. Look at me, dude. I'm killing it. And I start riding, not 50 yards. And all of a sudden the trail splits and I stop. And I'm like, I don't know which way to go. They blow by me. He's like, you lost your lead privileges. So off to the back I went.
But we found our way through, and
it worked.
it was fun.
It was cool.
I don't know what was worse, that or the rain. I think the rain.
The rain was way
You
worse.
were
I-
loving that.
I
Trevor.
wasn't thrilled, and I tell you why I wasn't thrilled about that. Was not the bushwhacking or whatever, but the last time that I was with Mitch and we went off trail and through the woods, I got the worst case of poison ivy.
That's right.
That like this was the day before Mohican, and we were just like out doing a little thing, and we
didn't. You could see the trail we were going to too.
I
It was
know.
like
I-
10,
and I-
15 yards. I do remember that. Now.
I don't know how I got such bad poison ivy from that, but it was terrible. And so the whole time we're bushwhacking, I'm looking around. I'm like, that looks like poison ivy. That looks like poison ivy. I'm definitely getting poison ivy.
It's okay. The rain and mud washed it all off.
I don't think I had poison ivy, but that wasn't
Although
really
we
my
got done
favorite.
with that section, and I did have a good laugh about it. It's like, that was a pain, and it was stupid, but it was kind of funny.
Would you do it again?
Yes.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, hopefully if I would do it again, it wouldn't rain.
Right.
But I think I was kind of bad mouthing the 2:36 distance. As soon as I finished it, like, no, I should have just been 200 miles. Should have just been 200
Yeah,
miles.
at about 200, you were like, this would have been awesome if it were 200 miles long.
Well, yeah, because essentially that route could go all the way up to the Dragon and back and be about 200 miles.
Yeah.
And that would be really cool. You would miss some, what I thought were awesome seasonal roads up near White Cloud. But does it need to be 237 miles? I don't know. Sitting here talking, like, it makes that 37 is like separates the men from the boys a little bit, and it's like what you really need to push through, like, and a ride like that, like pushing through some of those like really tough things is like just makes the finish so much sweeter.
Agreed. Agreed.
So if it was 200 miles and we finished and it was like 9:00 and we all went to get a pizza afterwards, like
Right.
it would have been cool, but
Yeah, it would have been fun.
it wasn't like when we finished, it was 3:30, nothing was open, or 3:00.
Yeah.
Nothing was open. And that was about it. We just like loaded in the car and left.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think I would keep it the same distance. It's more of a challenge.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to change on the course. In Greenville, the Fred Meyer Trail, there's a weird spot that I had to figure out how to actually get to because we had to climb over a fence. But other than that, there's nothing.
Oh, that was stupid. I think if it was
I think we
light
just had to
out-
ride through the parking lot and we'd have been fine.
Yeah, I think if it was light out, we would have figured that out. We went down an embankment and then had to climb. I don't like that.
And then I found a little gap in the fence.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, there's a little
And
gap.
then if you looked further down from where we just come, if we'd have just gone through that parking lot, we'd have been fine.
Well, none of our brains were functioning.
No,
at
not
that
at all.
point at all.
And I think that's right when it started to sprinkle, and
Yep.
I was
Yep.
like, "Oh
Well,
crap!"
Mitch's exact words were, "Well, guys," and he had his phone out. He goes, "If you have anything to cover up, now's the time
Yeah.
to cover it up."
Oh,
I thought,
yeah, it
"Oh
was-
boy,
yeah.
it's coming," and it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, good stuff.
Yeah.
Good. It was for sure a fun time, a good adventure. I'm glad that we got through it healthy and safe. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's the number one. Like
No
I don't think-
crashes.
yeah. And it's cool to knock something like that out so early in the season. I'm hoping like, we didn't stress ourselves. I hope you guys like feel physically okay, because I do. And you can take a big dumb ride like this, and hopefully it'll give you some extra something for those times where you're doing 100-mile races or big long dumb races. Hopefully that this will be helpful for that. So
Yeah, I'm counting on it for some definite base
yeah,
training.
yeah, for sure.
And now here's hoping I get my bike back or my wheel back in time for next weekend.
Oh yeah, rule of 3, right?
Rule 3.
Man, that's on my list for sure. Anything else? I encourage people, like, if you're in the Michigan area, to take this on, do it, try it. It's a cool course.
There's also a 125 course. It doesn't hit the Dragon. It's a lot more just gravel roads. It does hit Langston and Flat River, so there's some adventure to it,
Yeah.
but not the Dragon.
Okay. And
We all know the Dragon is the best part.
it is the best part. So you just got to do the
Do the big one.
236 miles.
Do the big one.
And if you're not from Michigan, create your own route and get out there.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
The Dirty Chain Podcast is a Michigan Midpack Media production in partnership with KOM Cycling, the source for your bike accessories and necessities. Connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Dirty Chain Podcast. If you are enjoying the podcast, please leave us a rating and review on whatever platform you use to listen. Audio editing and original music by myself, Trevor Gibney. Thank you to Dustin and Mitch for joining me on this episode, and thank you all for listening to the Dirty Chain Podcast. And as always, keep your chain clean, but get your chain dirty. We will see you in the Midpack.